unless it's manifest.
You change the goalpost.
It is
There's
reliant
nothing. No, it's
on
not
the manifestation.
Okay, so no, I think he's making a good point, but I'll give you a good answer to that. In order to possess an attribute, is it necessary to manifest it?
Yeah, because
You haven't even listened to the question.
Yeah, no.
Okay, what was my question? Let's see if you got it.
I said it is.
Let's see if you got it.
Yeah.
What was my question?
Is it necessary for an ability? Is it necessary for an ability to become manifest to exist? That's what you said.
Is it necessary?
It's necessary for an ability to manifest to exist.
Okay. Is it necessary?
Yeah.
For someone to possess an attribute?
That's exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the same.
Possess an attribute.
Possess an attribute.
And not manifest it.
Sure.
Okay. So is it possible?
Is it possible? Well, I would say we can't know until it's manifest.
Okay.
You can say, oh, this person is very intelligent, but until the person proves that they are intelligent and manifests it in the moment.
You're moving the goalpost.
No, but you're telling.
Wait. I'm not. That's the only time you can actually see that the person is intelligent.
Could I just adjudicate?
Yeah.
I think you're answering a question he didn't ask.
Exactly.
He asked the
That's why I
question
asked you if
again.
you understood it.
Sorry, no, it could be in the heat of the conversation you lost track of his question.
once
Ask again. Ask again.
Is it possible for a person to possess an attribute but not manifest it?
Or not show it.
Or not manifest it, and that's why I'm getting into that. No, it actually isn't.
Okay, can somebody be intelligent?
Go on.
It actually is.
Let me give you a scenario. Imagine somebody went to space.
Yeah.
Yes? This person you know very well.
Yeah.
To be kind, to be merciful, everything.
Yeah.
Okay? Now in space, he's alone on the space station. Nobody but himself.
Yeah.
Does he still possess those attributes? Or has he stopped possessing them? He's not manifesting it now.
I think, we can't see the attributes there, so I think
Does
it's
he
a
still have it?
I think it's a fallacy to say that he still has it. We don't know.
No, why is the fallacy?
They might have been gone.
Sorry?
They might have been gone. He might have been changed. He might have been warped. He might go insane.
But he might
And
not
then,
have.
Then we couldn't
But he
say
might
he's
not have as well.
And actually, I think that's the weakness of assuming those attributes.
No,
and
you're
saying-
assuming he
No.
forgot those.
No.
You're the one assuming it.
No. I'm actually.
You're all over the place right now.
He's in a tough corner now.
You're
He's
actually-
fighting his fitra. I can see it.
You're not listening.
Don't turn your back.
You're not listening.
Okay, go on.
So I'm actually agreeing here. You're trying to get me to say something, and I'm saying,
no, I'm
yeah,
not. I'm
that's,
asking a
that's the
question.
case.
I don't know if you
I
feel
would say
that,
that we can't say that person is kind necessarily until he shows that kindness.
No, but you knew he was kind. You knew he was kind.
So that's an
you
idea
knew he
I
was
have.
merciful.
That's
but
an
then,
idea.
But
That's an illustration I have of him, but it's not necessarily true.
okay, so now you know that he was kind and merciful.
Yeah.
But now because you cannot perceive him anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. You're saying that
could
it
have
is
changed.
possible he's changed.
Okay, one second.
Let me ask
So
you
if you
this.
got a
So when you
brain
sleep,
scan-
wait. When you sleep, you might be kind, generous, merciful. When you sleep, are you still?
Are you unkind,
Are you still
ungenerous,
showing those
unmerciful?
attributes?
Potentially, yeah. Because everyone.
What are you
because-
doing when you're sleeping? Go on. Tell us how you're kind when you're sleeping.
Because those attributes are very, very
Yes, please.
reductive. They are assuming that you can boil a person down to a couple of attributes and then he's permanently that. That's a big fallacy, I
No,
think.
I'm saying when you're sleeping, you're not showing those attributes.
Yeah.
You're not manifesting them.
Sure.
But are you still?
So you're not kind, necessarily.
You see, that is
not
a
at that
fallacy.
moment.
That's the fact. We'll
Why?
let the people judge this.
Why would you
Because
say
when you go to
why
sleep
would you
and you
say
stop
this?
being
Why would you
merciful-
say this sleeping person is kind? That's reputation.
No.
That's
You
reputation.
know,
that's
you know the
something
fallacy.
inside
You know the
us.
fallacy you have fallen into.
What?
You think that a person's attributes needs to be shown 24/7.
Yeah.
Do you do any of your attributes 24/7?
Otherwise, you can't say that you have. And I think it's a bit of a fallacy to say that a person is necessarily kind. He's always
No, but
kind.
do you profess
All
your
of us-
attributes
all of us-
24/7? Any of them?
All of us have all the attributes 24/7. All of us have the capacity to be
Do
evil.
they manifest them?
All of them have the potential to be
Exactly.
good.
Now you're answering.
When we manage them, when we manifest them, then they become true.
When you close
But
your
that's
eyelids,
exact- so that's
do
what
you
you're
lose
saying.
do you lose the ability to see when you close your eyelids?
Yeah, for a moment.
No, but not entirely, right?
Yeah.
So you could still see. You could still have the ability
still
to see.
open your eyes
You still
and
have
see.
the attribute of seeing, right? Even
yeah.
when you close your eyes.
Yeah,
so you
sure.
don't need to manifest sight to have the ability to
Exactly.
see.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So
Okay,
now you
that's
agree
it.
with us.
Agree with us. Now, this whole 30 minutes.
Success. Kim,
Finally.
look, like I said, the principle still remains. In order to possess an attribute, you don't need to manifest it. Accept it and live with it. Then you'll be at peace.
No, I think I disagree.
You just
still fighting himself.
I told you you've been
He's still fighting
contradicting
the
yourself
fitra.
for the last 30, 40 minutes.
I am thinking about it here a little bit, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking like,
good. You
if
should
That's a good
reflect upon
sign.
it.
That's a good
if you
sign.
close your eyes,
Unbelievable.
if you close your eyes,
Yeah.
you're not seeing at the moment. You don't have the ability to see at that moment. but once you open them, you have the ability to see again.
No, you're manifesting sight when you open them. You have the ability always.
I think it's a very naive position to assume that you have latent abilities and they are permanent, because they're not. They can change. They can change at any moment.
So insofar,
any second, you can go from being a kind person to be a cruel person.
Kim.
Any person. So you don't have that latent
but the
ability.
mechanism
So you would agree.
changes.
You don't have
You
that
change the
latent ability.
goalposts again. You know why?
No, why?
Because now
No.
you're saying the ability you possess can be taken away from you. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think the point I made, which you still haven't grasped, is
with
that
the weightlifter.
in order to have those attributes in the first place, yes, you need to have the attribute to manifest it. For example, you need to be a loving person to show love. Yes? If you are always an evil person with no room for love at all, then you cannot manifest love. Am I right?
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's. I think it's.
Kim, I think
Kim,
it's just-
you know what?
Wait.
Kim.
I
1
think-
second.
If you don't have the
I
attribute,
think
how can
it's-
you manifest?
Let me answer.
Just 1 second.
Let me
Let me
answer.
say.
Wait. So I think you can't just say he's a loving person and only a loving person can manifest love. It's too simplistic.
That wasn't
It's
my
also-
question.
It's also too
That wasn't
simplistic.
my question.
You said
My
that.
question is, if you did not have
you
the
said
attribute of
also,
love.
You said also, if you're evil, you can't manifest
Kim,
love. If you're an evil
you're not
person,
listening. That's why.
It's not.
Shall I
you
repeat the
don't-
question
you
because
don't
you
have
missed
the
it
ability.
again?
You don't
If
have
you
the
don't
ability.
have the attribute of love, can you love?
If you don't have the attribute
Don't
of love,
possess at all.
everyone has the attribute
No,
of
don't
love.
tell me what everyone has. I
Everyone
gave you a
else-
condition.
everyone
If
has
you
it.
don't have the attribute of love, can
Everyone
you love?
has the potential for love.
No, that wasn't my question.
Yeah.
My question,
but
if you don't have it.
But I think that's a fallacy in the
No,
first
it's not a
place.
fallacy.
You can't
It's
say
not a
that you
fallacy.
don't
I
have.
gave you a condition.
You can't say
It's a
that
thought
you don't-
experiment. If somebody-
you can't, wait. You can't say that you don't have the ability to love. That's impossible.
My friend, I'm not
Why
talking
is
about
it impossible?
Everyone has the potential to love.
Why is it impossible?
Because it's built
Have you
into
actually
our DNA.
checked everyone?
It's built into
Have
our
you
DNA.
done the consensus, a census of
scientific
everyone?
experiment?
Even the most evil person, even Mr. Scrooge, can be turned around and
friend,
have the potential for love.
just take the thought
Everyone's
experiment
got the
for what it
seed.
is.
Everyone's got the seed for good and evil.
Okay,
My friend,
once you have,
Everyone's got the potential.
You see,
So I think abilities.
I think what you're doing is you're changing
Ability-
the condition which I gave
ability
you.
is too simplistic.
Kim, the whole point of
I
a
think
thought
ability
experiment is
too
you
simplistic.
accept the thought experiment for what it is
Exactly.
and you don't change it.
You don't change the
So
experiment.
I'm
How
not
have I
interested.
changed it?
I'm not
I give you a
because we
condition
said
and you
that
change it.
somebody who lacks the ability to love, and you said no, everybody has the ability to love. I'm not talking about everybody.
Okay.
I'm talking about this conceptual person
A conceptual person
that doesn't have the
that
ability to love.
doesn't
Could
have
he
the ability
ever
to
love?
love.
Could he ever manifest
You know,
love?
I think that can exist.
let's use a sight example.
that
If
can't exist.
someone doesn't have the attribute of sight, can
Yeah.
they see?
If someone doesn't have, if someone has
Born
lost their
without
eyes,
eyes.
Yeah.
Born without eyes.
Yeah, they won't give. Yeah, okay, fair enough. They
So
won't.
you
be
need
able-
attribute in order to perform
Yeah.
the action. I don't know why he's fighting
I
against
don't know what
himself.
you already conceded it. Okay, look, Kim. You know my advice
Are
to
you
you.
going to think about that as well?
My advice to you, please just understand this. My advice to you, sincere advice, yeah?
Yeah.
The Quran encourages reflection, pondering.
Yeah.
And I think that you need to go and watch this video and follow the thought process and reflect and ponder upon what we said here with you. Because you, throughout this conversation, have accepted many things. You've accepted that the reliance relationship between contingent things and necessary things is one way. You've accepted that one has power over the other. You've accepted that, that attributes could be there without them manifesting. You've accepted many
Have you
things,
discussed the
and then in the
existence of
same breath contradicted them afterwards. So,
Did it get anywhere?
the best thing to do is to go reflect upon the footage. It'll be on Da'wah wise, inshallah. You could reflect upon it, watch it, digest it, come back, and we'll further the discussion, inshallah.
What about your, I don't know,
Yes, you had it-
Sabu said you already discussed about the
Yeah.
possible existence of God.
Yeah.
What was the end result of that?
So the end result there, basically what we were getting into
why I
was, you
told
were
him go
saying that
reflect.
God is a first cause, he's existing independent of contingent causes, so he's superior. He's a higher cause, if you will.
No, I'm just talking about the existence
All other
now.
causes.
Not about his action. So do you believe that
yeah.
God exists or he doesn't exist?
Yeah, I believe that God exists.
Okay, how
but,
do you-
but in a different plane than us.
Okay,
Yes,
so
he was
what is
likening
your-
God to the creation,
Yeah.
so we had to separate God from creation.
Okay, so what
that
is-
was the whole discussion.
Where does your understanding of God come from?
So my understanding from God comes from that God is it's a two-way street instead of it being a one-way street. God needs the world to manifest his powers. He needs to exist through
And
the
no, where
world
does it come from?
to show his power, to become powerful.
Where does this come
he
from?
Can
That's the
still,
question.
he can still exist outside of the world, right?
Kim,
But
I'm
he's
not
but he's
asking
very
about all
powerful.
those details. I'm asking, where does that knowledge come from?
Where does it come from? Well, that's a good question. I suppose it's a combination of animism and Buddhism.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where does that come from?
And where does that come from? folk traditions, folklore, ancestors,
But
history.
the whole point of the last hour
So
long discussion.
all those still require some source.
Yeah.
Can you name a source?
Yeah, sure, that will probably be a creative force. Sure.
No. Look, when you talk about
A God, a creative force. If you go back all the steps, if you go back like regressively, you'll get back to that first course.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that first course is just as reliant on everything else that came after it as all the other things are reliant on it.
Is that monism you believe in?
Monism,
He just
no,
kept
I
on
don't think so.
repeating
No?
that it's two sides of the same coin. That basically he's equating God to creation. So the point is that
Or is it pantheism or pantheism? Which one is it?
Panentheism. Yeah, it's getting closer to that, I think.
Panentheism?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
potentially.
So that's why I think that's where your understanding of everything is within God rather than everything is God. Have I got it right?
Well, aren't those two basically the same thing?
No, they are not. Because one
Are
is
they
pantheism, which means everything is God,
Yeah.
and panentheism is everything is within God.
Everything is within God.
So God encompasses.
So God encompasses everything.
Yeah.
I think I go for the first. Probably
Everything
the
is God?
first there.
So you're pantheist.
That God is suffusing everything, right? And God is as reliant on the things that He has created as they are on Him.
And what we've demonstrated for the last hour to you
Yeah.
is that not only is the reliance relationship one way, we've also shown you that God does not need, does not rely on creation for His attributes. God exists completely independent of those things. And this is why I told you, because you've now accepted that and then you contradicted that many times throughout this conversation, go and watch the footage, reflect upon it,
Yeah, I think
ponder
we'll-
upon it, digest it, come back.
I'm not
There's
sure.
no point. We've already, like everything that you just said, we've already went through it for the last hour.
Yeah,
What
but
about-
I'm not sure I'm not sure I've contradicted that point. I'm not
No,
sure.
you'll see
I think
yourself on
the
camera
best-
doing it.
The best argument that you have made against that is that God has ability and it doesn't need to be manifest because we can have abilities and attributes without manifesting.
And that goes
That's the
against,
best.
alhamdulillah, and that goes against your whole two-way reliance thing. That's the point. It's all connected.
What about the
But
existence?
I'm not sure if it does, because wouldn't you say that the reliance inside, for example, needs to be
No, that's not what I meant.
exercised
That's not what I meant.
to be there?
Because your whole thing was God is reliant on creation for Himself to be powerful.
Yeah.
And we demonstrated that no, you could have an attribute, you could have the attribute of power,
Yeah.
and without manifesting it, and it would still be there. Therefore, God does not rely on the creation. Therefore, the reliance relationship is only one way. Now let's pause here because nothing you're gonna say more is gonna give you more clarity. You should just go and digest that.
Couldn't you say that someone who is going to lift weights, he
Yes.
can't prove his strength if he doesn't have the weights or if he
He
doesn't have anything
him
to lift?
proving proof and actually possessing the attribute of strength, completely two different things.
But
One is
is-
ontology, one is demonstrating proof, epistemology to somebody else.
One is
But
action, one
but
is
if he's not using that attribute, he doesn't have a
Listen,
chance to show it.
See what I mean?
How
You're
can
going
you-
back into it.
how can
Let's
you-
stop
how
here.
can- how can
You
you
said
say
a
it's
point.
there? How can you say it's
let's
there?
Let's stop here because we've adjusted this for the last hour. So I want you to, wallahi, it is for you. I want you to go and digest this, okay? Everything you've said. So you made one side point about what's it called? There being evil in the world, and babies dying at 2 years old.
Yeah, sure.
In the Islamic conception, a baby who dies in this world gets an eternal afterlife of bliss.
Oh.
So it doesn't matter whether you believe that; it's irrelevant.
No, but before
wasn't-
we go that, do you actually believe in the existence of good and evil?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I do.
So is that something does God play any role in that?
Does he play any role in that? I think God has certainly created these two forces because you can't talk about anything that's good if you don't have evil.
Oh, so you think God created
You have
evil?
to have the shadow.
Tim,
Otherwise,
do you actually believe God created evil?
yeah, I think so.
You see, Muslims don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
No.
Where did it come
we
from
believe,
then?
No, we believe that when God created them, they were not evil, but then with their free will, they chose evil. So we believe in devil, the Satan, Iblis, what you want to call it, yes? But we don't believe that he was innately, from intrinsically evil. He had the ability to choose between good and evil.
We don't have a
Hang
Christian
on,
conception
if God
of the
is
fall.
omnipotent and omniscient, wouldn't he have predicted that would happen?
No,
Would
he
have
knows,
known
he knows,
exactly
yeah,
that
he
would
knows.
He knows it.
Yeah.
So he created.
But you can't have your
But
cake
he
and eat
gives
it
them,
too. Let me
he
tell you
gives
why.
them the free
God-
will,
but he
and
knew
then
it
he
would
gives
fail.
then he shows them that these are the consequences if you disobey, and this is the reward if you obey. Then that's the reason I told you earlier that he doesn't interfere in your daily life.
Yeah.
He lets you get on with your free will,
Yeah.
because like I said, this life is a test. And it's a test for you, it's a test also for the Satan, it's a test for everyone. For all of us, it's a test. What we do in this temporary life will determine what will happen to us in the eternal life in the hereafter.
Because Kim, listen.
But I'm surprised you said that God created evil. So you have no one to blame than your God.
Well, actually, interestingly enough, you were saying that God is a first cause for everything. So isn't he a first cause of evil as well?
I'm saying he created them, but I didn't say he
that
created
doesn't
them evil.
make
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Kim, there's a difference.
Wait a minute.
Wait. You're saying he created them evil. I didn't say he created them evil. You're the one saying it.
You're not making the point that you think you're making. Kim, you're not
So
making
wait
the
a
point
minute.
that
So
you
wait.
think you're making.
So hang
So
on.
just listen
So
instead of
evil. Wait a
doing the
minute.
theatrics.
Evil is a cause unto itself. Evil came out of nowhere, or it came from us.
I just explained to you.
And God created us.
You know what the difference between you and us is?
Doesn't it come from God?
I'll tell you what. Kim, the difference between you and what I said is that you believe they are intrinsically evil. I'm saying they became evil later by the free choice.
I see.
God gives us free will.
You see,
and
in your case, you're blaming God for the evil. In our case, we're not blaming God. You are.
Okay.
So which one is the better God? The one who creates evil or the one who doesn't create
Well,
evil?
I think it's
Or the one who
ridiculous
gives them the freedom to choose between
Kim,
good and
the
evil?
Islamic
I think it's
conception.
ridiculous to blame God in the first place.
But you
Because
are blaming
did
God.
Either for either
You
good
are
or
blaming
evil.
God.
You did that.
Well, I would say that God has created them.
So
because
you're blaming
He's
God then?
created everything, so He must have known that evil would be a
No,
potentiality.
known, and
Because
then
there
the evil
could-
himself is
Wait,
completely different.
wait,
No.
hang
You
on,
keep
hang on.
conflating the
No,
no and the ontology.
Wait.
Let me, no, one second. No. Kim, you stop
I'm-
for a second. Kim, please. Just 1 second. Kim, please.
Okay.
Kim, please.
Go for it.
The fact of the matter is what? We're telling you that God in the Islamic conception has given us free will. However, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It can't be the case that every time somebody tries to exercise their free will, God interjects. There's no free will then. See what I'm saying? So in the Islamic conception, God created this life as a test. And in this test, God gave us, you have this free will, and God, out of His mercy, gave us the best thing that we can aspire for, the most blissful thing we can aspire for, the best reward we can ever attain, paradise, if we pass this test. And He also gave us the biggest thing to fear, eternal hellfire. It's very simple. It's a very nice and concise, and
He gave that. Eternal hellfire. He created that. And He created evil.
no, He didn't create you. He doesn't say your whole conception. No. Wait, punishing. Why?
Something wrong here?
Yeah, because your conception is God created evil things. We're saying
must have.
things.
He
No,
must have created the potential for evil and the potential
No.
for good.
God
Otherwise, there's no test.
God allows evil and knows about. Because you said that your whole argument
Wait.
is.
You said God was the first cause. Everything came to God.
No.
God
Listen.
started everything. God knew this was going to happen. He has to create.
Exactly.
He
The whole
has.
point is this knowledge.
He has to
God
create evil
knowing,
to differentiate
No.
between good.
No.
There
God-
has to be a differentiation.
God knowing-
Otherwise, it's meaningless. If everything is just good and bliss, there's no distinction
listen
and there's
for a
no
second.
test,
I
as you
understand
said.
that. Yes, exactly.
So he
no,
must
no,
have
but no,
created it.
no, he did. No.
He must have created it.
No, let me
I just
explain.
explained
not?
that to you.
No,
I said he
the
created
free
them,
will. He created the free
but
will
then-
agents.
There you go.
No,
He said he created them.
he created them, but they were not created evil, like the way you're saying.
Yes.
Oh, did not create
Yeah,
evil.
exactly.
But he created
Like
the
our
test.
predisposition.
So
is
for
not
example,
evil.
look, if you create, let's say you manufacture a knife. Yes? Did you create the knife for the purpose of murder?
Well, I mean, it can certainly be used for that. So you
No,
must
but
predict
that wasn't
it
your
could.
objective, was it?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Did you know that it could be used for murder?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I blame you for that?
You should say there, it's definitely created the possibility.
Should I blame you for it? Though?
Should you blame me for it? No, not necessarily.
There you go. Similarly, you cannot blame God
I'm
for
not blaming
something
God.
other people. But you,
I'm
but you said
I'm saying he's created
No,
it.
but you said-
I'm not blaming him for it.
No.
I'm saying
Tim,
he
you
has.
said
I'm
you said
saying,
he created him
no,
evil
no, wait.
intrinsically.
That's
That's what you said.
I'm saying he creates it because otherwise there couldn't exist good. Right?
No.
No,
He has to
that's a
create-
theory you have. We're saying maybe that's a result that's completely fine. You're saying that without
And he must have known it
without
happened.
evil existing.
So let's give an example of good where there's no evil.
Yeah.
It's called paradise.
Paradise. Yeah, right.
There you go.
And then
All
there's no
good,
test.
no evil.
And then there's no test. Then there's
No,
no
that
no
is right.
meaning.
That is
test
the
is
reward
finished.
for the test.
Yeah,
That's
test
a
is
reward.
finished.
That's
You're
a
right.
reward. Yeah,
So
sure.
there you go. There is good without evil. I give you an example.
There is good without
But
evil.
you see, the difference between you and us is that we don't believe everything is created intrinsically evil. Everything is created good intrinsically.
But I don't believe that.
So when I say
Everything
everything,
evil things.
so
But
when
I
I
don't
say
believe
wait,
that
when I
either.
say everything, I mean
I don't say
mean
people
those
are
people,
intrinsically evil.
those entities who have been given the choice
Yeah.
between good and bad.
Yeah.
It means those entities which have a consciousness and which have free will.
So didn't God create, say, cancer? Was God not a cause of cancer? Was God not
Yeah,
a
but
cause
cancer-
of?
cancer doesn't-
Did God not put in murderous abilities into us so we can kill other animals and kill each other?
Shall I tell you?
Did he not
Shall I
give
tell
us
you where
those
you made a mistake again?
He
Look,
gave us those potentials.
God is also the one who causes everything. So we say that not even a leaf moves without the permission of Allah.
And I'm not blaming him. I'm saying it's good
No,
to do
listen,
that.
listen. Let me finish. Kim.
Yeah.
So these agencies which don't have consciousness, which cannot differentiate between good and bad, because they don't have a free will. So, for example, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, all these things.
Sure.
These are natural calamities.
It's not evil.
Yeah. So we can't call them evil. These are natural calamities, but we cannot say that they are responsible for killing so many people.
Right.
You see? Because they don't have a conscious agency like the way you and I do, like the way the jinn, the Satan does. That's the reason only these people will be sent to hell. Yes?
Okay.
For their evil. Because they chose deliberately, knowingly, consciously. And that's the reason the consequences of that evil is the hellfire.
I think I get you there.
That's the whole point of the test.
I think I get you there. And then he has to set up the field. He has to give us the capacity for both good and evil. Otherwise, there's no test. But in that sense, he has
Brilliant. That's a
he has
brilliant point,
created
you know?
the field, and he's created the arena, and he's allowed for the possibility of it.
In finite terms, and then gave you an infinite, gave you first of all a judgment day, a place where all wrongs will be written right, and then gave you a place where people who passed the test eternally live in bliss, and people who did not eternally live in hellfire.
In a way, it's a bit sick and twisted, isn't it?
No, it's
Isn't
not.
it-
Okay, let me
isn't it-
ask you. In your worldview, what should be the punishment for Hitler, who is an evil
What
man?
should be the punishment for Hitler? Exactly. Eternal hellfire.
But do you believe in that?
Why not? Why not? Why not?